All right, here we go. 2021. Happy New Year. First Friday post vacation. Although I'm still on vacation. Hey guys. What's up, Tiago? Talent fighter pilot. Stop motion nerds. Hey, everybody. Hope everybody had a good New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yes, I kicked off the new year with some animation. I love the stop motions, especially Overwatch ones. Thank you, Spartan. Stopmo Spartan. I will do more Overwatch stop motion for sure. I love it. Happy New Year, Rajesh. Cessna. What's up, Cessna? Brandon. Minty Customs. Eduardo Oropesa. My dinosaur master. Good to see you. Hey, everybody here who is all asking me that amazing T-Rex dinosaur that I got. Where did it come from? That was my first collaboration ever with another artist, and his name is Eduardo Oropesa from Mexico, and he made that amazing T-Rex that you guys saw I did some animation with. So if you guys want an amazing T-Rex or Velociraptor or any kind of dinosaur, long neck, anything you can think about, go to Eduardo Oropesa. He will make you one. He's a really amazing artist, so go check him out. He knows how to do it all. Hey everybody. Right, so like I was saying, thank you, Silvio. I kicked off the new year by doing some animation. I'm really interested in doing a lot of mixing of stop motion with live action. That's been something I grew up on watching Harryhausen films and basically anything from the 80s that had monsters or creatures. And this T-Rex was the first puppet that I have that's kind of realistic, right? So I'm going to be doing all kinds of experiments, like the one you saw already where I took the dog for a walk, but it was my T-Rex. And then like the one I'm doing right now, and last night with me and my daughter, which you guys will see soon. So that's what I'm animating today, and I can't wait to do more and more mixing. Okay, whoop, here we go. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm getting all kinds of Happy New Years. So today, subject. I basically am trying to do my live streams by, whoops, almost canceled our live stream, by talking about a subject. And this one, this week's subject is going to be cameras, because people are asking me about cameras all the time. So if you guys have specific questions about stop motion cameras, I can help you answer what little I know. But I have been shooting my own films for a while. I shoot with a Sony camera here, and I'm running out of batteries, but I think I might have taken it upstairs. But you can see here, Sony A7S. If you can see that one. With I use all Nikon lenses, manual lenses. This is an expensive camera, and the reason I went with the more expensive camera for this was because it shoots 4K live action video. So if you've watched some of my Overwatch shorts, I've mixed live action with the stop motion, where we'll go right from live video to the character starting to animate. And that was because this camera, the Sony, allowed that at 4K, so I could keep my still images really nice and high and also have my video very nice and high. So that's why I use that. But I've used a lot of different cameras over the years, and as you can see here on my second camera, this is a Canon 60D, and this is way less expensive than a than the Sony camera. Like you can get one of these for probably $400 or $500 used, maybe even less. And it does an amazing job. I had a 50D before I had the 60D, and I just get little adapters for all my Nikon lenses. But it works great. Hold on a second. I got a bunch of questions here. They're sliding by. Submit the questions, so I'll make sure to get them, guys. What are some tips for animating camera moves? Yes. Great question. Especially since I can't afford an Arduino. Okay. So I know all about doing camera moves before you can afford an Arduino or something like that. I use a few different things, but a simple one here is see these guys here? This is a Manfrotto geared head, and it has 3 different axes that you can animate. And it's all nozzle, so I can go vertical, you know, I can tilt up, I can tilt down, I can go right, left. You can do pretty much any kind of shot you want just by manhandling the little geared heads there. It's really a really great investment for a stop-mo animator. Oh no, I got a hot set here. And then this right here is another very much less expensive but very effective way. This is just a board, just a piece of wood, if you can see it here. And what it has is a piece of material that a lot of stop motion people use. And I'll get you guys the name of it, but as you can see here, it's just a rail. And what happens is I have a piece that I can slide up and down it. And I can put my camera on that. And as you can see also, there's an IKEA tape here with all the different measurements. So as I'm animating, I can match it up, 85, 86, 87, at whatever increment I want while I'm animating to get a nice tracking shot. Very inexpensive. You know, the rail itself is I think like $12, and then the little piece that attaches to it there, it's maybe like $4 or something like that. It's a very inexpensive way, and this is the way I did my camera moves for a long time. Works really well. The track is really smooth, so you can get some really nice cameras on there. And if you add the Manfrotto on top of this, right? So you just attach the Manfrotto to here, then you have your camera. You can do tilts and tracking shots. You can do pushes. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff. So this I used for a long time, and I'll still use it for very simple things. I'm graduating because I'm getting more and more professional in my work and investing in more and more pieces of equipment. But so now I use a few different things. I have an actual track with a motion control thing, and I've used it only on a couple of shows so far, but it works awesome up here. And as you can see, I've got 3 different axes there again, including one I can swap out and make control my focus if I want. So I can just do a slide and a turn track. Oh, is she coming in? Uh-oh. Doggy wants to join me. The next thing I use for camera work that's really cool, and also it's one more level of refined camera work that I invested in again after my other one. The inexpensive one was this one, which I actually had made from a camera company. And again, it's just a winder. So as you can see, I can just wind this down and I can attach my camera here just like the other one. Works very similar, it's just really machined well. So the camera is very smooth. You have to be careful on the one that I showed you earlier because it works great, but it will run into little bumps and little imperfections every once in a while. So you have to watch it as you animate to make sure you keep it smooth. So this one has 0 bumps. So if I want to make sure that I can get through my shot and have it be professional and clean, I use that one right over there. And I'm missing a bunch of questions, so I'm going to jump in here for a sec. And then I'll get back to showing you guys some more stuff. Let's see here. Question in here. Have you participated in any film? Yeah, a bunch. I worked at Leica on 2 films. I worked on SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. I worked on SpongeBob Christmas Special. I worked on Elf Christmas Special. I worked on Alien Xmas, which is on Netflix right now. I've worked on Hell and Back, maybe like six movies and a bunch of Christmas specials and TV shows. All right. Yes, Vico, I've been talking about cameras since before you got here. So I talked about the cameras that I have, Sony A7S, which is my still camera. And then I talked about my Canon 60D, which is what I shoot my live action on. But also, I shot plenty of animation on it over the years. And that's my camera right there, Sony A7S. And then that's my Canon 60D. And I was talking about camera moves after that. Okay. To animate a character, do you have to be in the same mindset as they would? Yes, you do. It certainly helps. I think you'll do a better job if you do get inside your characters. This is something that's really an interesting part of being an animator. Is like if I'm animating a sad scene or I'm feeling sad, you know, I'll notice like I'll be touching my characters and I'll be like, you know, my facial muscles will drop and change and I'll feel empathy or sad or anger depending on what I'm animating, right? Because I'm pretending, I'm literally living through these characters. So you absolutely, if you're doing like a depressing scene, you might be walking around pretty dopey for a while, sad, because you definitely get into your work, whatever it is. I have a Canon T3i. What software do you recommend? I recommend DragonFrame. I always recommend DragonFrame. That's the professional program that pretty much is used anywhere you're ever going to work as a professional stop motion person outside of Europe. Europe uses, I think it's like Animator Pro or something like that. But here in the States, it's DragonFrame. They're the best for sure. It costs money, so if you're a beginner, you don't really need maybe to spend that much. But they have a student version that works great. But you can get lots of apps for nothing or very, very inexpensive otherwise. Might have missed your answer, but do you have plans to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in the future? I definitely. They're on one of my top 5 toys and cartoons of the 80s list. But I don't have plans right now because I have so much on my plate with things you guys don't even know about yet that's coming next year. I have probably like 5 or 6 things lined up that are really awesome. And I can't wait to do them. But Ninja Turtles are on my list. I was hoping that some toy company that owns Ninja Turtles would hire me, because then I would love to animate them and show them how amazing I could make those toys move. So if you know anybody at a toy company that owns Ninja Turtles, wink, wink, send them my way, please. Let's see here. Might have missed your answer on this. Okay. Your opinion on manual lenses versus electronic lenses. I always use manual lenses. Always. Because I want to be in control of everything. For stop motion, I want everything to be the same, to be even, no flicker. So I always use old manual lenses. Stop motion studio. Hey, that works. Whatever you use, all you need is something to play back your frames and take them. That's it. License problems? I've never had any license problems. Hey, what's up? Star Wars Black Series. Love your stuff. Happy New Year. Okay, I got some questions. How do you animate the faces on the Motu characters? I basically go into Photoshop and I adjust all the mouth shapes. I adjust any facial stuff that I want to do, and then I put it in After Effects and I put it on top of the actual animation so that it looks like they're animating or talking or whatever. Hey, Justin. Hey, Kaitorix. Yeah, no problem. Let's see here. Question: is there more Masters of the Universe stuff coming? I think yes, is the short question, or short answer, I should say. This year, 2021, if Mattel, Masters of the Universe makers, if they are as happy as they seem to be with the piece that me and Shelly made, I think there's going to be more coming. So we are definitely really, really, really wanting to make more. I've written some really big stuff. I have huge ideas that I think would just blow your minds. Any fans of Motu? But if Motu, if they get on board, it's going to happen for sure. Oh, cool! Motu made it to Target. Awesome. I've been looking, man. Every time I go to Walmart, everything's gone. I got a few on to pick up, for sure. If you do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, please use the NECA toys. Okay. Do me a favor and send them a text or a chat window and say, hire Justin Rasch to animate those turtles. Because if they hear it from the fans, they might do it. My phone died, but was wondering where you picked up the rail and mount for the cheap camera slider. I will put that information on my Instagram for you guys, because it's been so long since I got it, I can't remember all the information. But I will put a link there for you guys to order the cheap slider. It's really, really easy. You probably... Oh, you know what? For whoever just asked me that, Brandon, I noticed you can get that stuff on Amazon now, which is crazy. You can get the slider parts on Amazon. So look up rails and sliders on there and see what comes up. But I'll still post it. But I remember being like, what? You don't have to go to a specialty place anymore. Okay. She-Ra or Wonder Woman? Oh, that's hard, Mark. Oh, I was always so fond of Wonder Woman because I grew up watching the 70s cartoon. I mean, the 70s TV show, and of course reading the comic books. And I love me some Amazons. I love big Amazon, powerful women. She-Ra is awesome. She's really cool. But I really love the kind of fight that the Amazons had. That She-Ra didn't always show the same kind of fight. So I think I might have to go with Wonder Woman, and that's tough because I like She-Ra too. How do you clean the background images, removing stands and all that stuff? Rajesh. Photoshop. I go into Photoshop and I cut out all of the rig and I turn it blue or whatever color I want to for the background. And that's how I do it. One frame at a time. Takes a while, but it works every time. And then I paint any fixes that I need to paint. Happy New Year, 11 Studios. Mira and Mark, can I read your comment? Yes, I will read it. I'm looking here. How do you clean all the images? That's Rajesh. I don't see it here in the question. Submit it as a question so I can answer it. Mira and Mark. The Motu have original joints or did you reinforce? Nope, all the original joints on the Motu figures. I put some stuff in the feet and there was a couple parts that I dug out, like the biceps and the legs and the hips area to get a little bit more mobility. But it's pretty much, it's toys, 99% toys in so much of that stuff. There's a few shots that I disassembled and I used some clay to get a little extra bend, but it's toys. It's the toys. I made a stop motion with my girlfriend. Oh, that's awesome. Have you ever tried Samyang Rockinon manual lenses? Oh, sorry. Samyang Rockinon manual lenses. I have never tried those. Not yet. I'm not really a camera guy either. This is the thing that's really fascinating is I've learned what I need to. Like I understand lenses, I understand mounts, and what I need to do stop motion, but I really have not been into photography very much. I learned because I need to do what I do. As a professional, when I work on a professional thing, we always have a DP there who will do all the magical camera stuff that I don't know. But I do ask, and I pick up little nuggets here and there to, of course, increase my skill set. Stuff like that. Okay, let's see here. Pavan. What's the ideal size of puppet to capture all the emotions and actions? I was just talking to a buddy about this, one of my students today. I like around 10 inches. 9-10 inches is really perfect for me size-wise. Yeah, of course, Rajesh, no problem. But I haven't... I've worked with puppets 13 inches, 18 inches, and then, 4 inches. 4 inches is a little small to do everything I want to do, but I have done it. So 9-10 inches is ideal for me. Let's see, I got another one. Thanks so much. Do you plan to do a live on lighting? I've never done a live on lighting because usually I'm working. Trying to work on the cheap since I can't borrow school's lights anymore. I can do something, like this little setup I have here for the dinosaur. It's not even turned on right now, but if you look, it's one light on there, and then I have my lights are on right now because I'm not animating, but then I have back there the blue screen lights, which are just a bunch of fluorescents, and I'm basically using that to kind of simulate the sun, which was outside for the shot. I use some of these small little IKEA lights here, or just a bounce card sometimes with another light hitting it to just create a rim or some fill. But I can put that on my list. Like I said, this next year I'm going to be doing so many tutorials because people don't care what I think about stuff animation wise. So when I do an episode on what it's like to be a feature film animator, things that I would think people would be into, they don't seem to respond to very much on my YouTube. So I'm just going to do straight up, this is how you make a character. This is how you make an armature. This is how you do a mold. This is how you, do build-up puppet. This is how you do a sculpted puppet. This is how you, whatever, like set up a camera. So I can do one on lights too. I'll add that to my list since I think more people. Yes, I use Mel Richardson lights for sure. You'd be honored to be a student? Oh, that's cool. Appreciate that. I take students on. I have a new one starting very soon. My 12-week just ended today, my last class, and I do 12-week cycles with students. Let's see here. I wanted to talk to you. I was going to show you guys some of my lenses too. I think oh, here we go. So I have 2 of the Sony cameras. Because as a studio now, it's not just me animating anymore. And as you know, cameras, things break sometimes while you're working. And if I don't have a backup camera, I'm screwed, right? Because I have a job I have to do. So I got 2 of the Sonys when I got them as a studio cost. And if I ever bring in another animator, like on a film or a project that I'm doing to help out, I have a backup camera so I can set up another set. Which, as we get bigger and hopefully do larger shows and commercials here, we'll be bringing in more animators. Love your YouTube. I think you just make people want to get to it themselves. If you're in LA, I'd love to take a class. Brandon Peterson. Well, that's cool. I'm in LA, but I don't really do classes like sit-down classes or anything. Everything I've done has been on Zoom so far because it's mainly focused around animation. But if you're interested in taking an animation class, just contact me and I can put you on my list of people that are interested. And I can teach puppets and puppet making as well, but I typically just focus on animation. Where do you source the puppet winders? People are always wanting to know about those puppet winders. Maxwell Sorensen on Instagram. He makes them. They're very expensive, but they're pretty awesome and they work great. I have a couple of them. Again, I got it for a professional project I was doing. You don't need them. You can get inexpensive ones off Amazon for a lot of minor tests, but I need really hardy ones for the work I do. So Maxwell Sorensen. He will be your connection there. A lighting tutorial would be epic. I used LED in my last clip and had to deal with removing flicker. Yeah, flicker is a problem. So manual lenses, that helps with the flicker. I'm getting, at every studio I've worked at, I've gotten a power conditioner, and the power conditioner keeps the light from going up and down as the power is used more or less throughout an evening, right? So it's a big investment, but it keeps all the power even. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with post-flicker removal. It's a pain in the butt. But manual lenses will help that a lot, though. Happy New Year! So I was going to show you guys some of my lenses. I have a decent little amount here. I use very often 20 millimeter lens. Very often I use a 50 or 55 millimeter lens. This one is a 20 to 35 millimeter lens. So I have a little bit of range there. 20 millimeter lens. And as you can see, I even have some marks on there as I animate to keep things in focus. I'll just put a piece of tape on and I'll whatever many frames, 20 frames to the end pose. Make sure as I animate I can keep things in focus. You can see this one here, 35 millimeter lens, which is just kind of a basic general lens that you're going to use. I slowly got my collection together. A lot of people use kind of a standard one, which is, you know, can be anything from a 20 millimeter to 75 millimeter lens, which is what I have on my time-lapse camera. It's just a Tamron lens. It's not a manual, but it has a manual setting. So that helps keep it, you know, from flickering too much. I have a 17 millimeter lens is the most extreme one that I have because I like, hey, happy 2021 from Colombia. I can get some really cool, you know, like dynamic perspectives on like something like a 17 millimeter lens. So I like it, but I don't always get a lot of chances to use it. But it's awesome. One of the other things you have to do, just so you guys know, is if you're working with manual like Nikon lenses on a Canon or a Sony, you're going to need adapters. So I have a lot of adapters for each one of those cameras if I want to pop it onto one of the other ones. And it's anything as simple as a little thing like this, like a little ring that attaches, or it's like these big chunky monkeys here like I have for my other lenses for the Sony. I got a lot of questions here. Let me check. Is your is your camera a crop sensor? This is how little I know about cameras. I don't know if it's a crop sensor. I have no idea. I don't even know what that is. I apologize. Do you ever use your backup camera to pick up a second angle? No, this is a very good question. People always wonder that. They're like, why don't you just animate with like 6 cameras and then you can have, you know, all the different angles instead of reshooting? It doesn't work like that in animation, in stop motion or CG, really. But you work, it's 2-dimensional. As much as this is a 3-dimensional puppet, the animation I'm doing is very 2-dimensional. So it's so much work to keep something smooth and on arcs and with good spacing and all of the things that you need, that it's hard enough to do it on one. And if you're trying to do it on two different cameras, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You'll never get your shot done. It's too much to track because you can't move things three-dimensionally that perfect. So that's why I never use a second camera, because it'll never be good enough. It's always got to be a unique shoot. But very cool question, because a lot of people want to know that. And they don't know how animation or stop motion really works. Okay, let's see here. What's the best camera for stop motion? I don't know what the best camera for stop motion is. One that takes pictures. I really would say that the coolness of the camera is very unimportant. You can use a cheap camera. If you can animate, it's going to look great. It doesn't matter. I started on a webcam for a long time. And good animation looks awesome on a webcam. Good animation looks amazing. Bad animation looks like crap on a $40 gajillion camera. So what you need to be thinking about is a good clean image, right? So really all you need is HD when you're starting out. An HD webcam can do that for you. Most still cameras, an inexpensive used camera will give you, 4K images, huge 4,000 pixel images. You're going to be able to make some really pretty stuff with that. So I can't recommend anything except make sure it has live video out, so you can go to your software that you're animating in. How many times at an animation session do you make with white balance? I don't touch once, because everything's manual. Everything's manual on my camera. I don't touch my camera after I set my initial shot. I set all of my camera information, depth of field, everything that's set here can be controlled in DragonFrame, the program that I use. So there's a thing in here called the cinematography window. And when I go into the cinematography window, I have my ISO, I have all of the things that I can check my image. Like this one right here, I was like checking to see if it was in focus. I take the picture, I come in here, I check, and then everything gets locked. Once I approve the image, it's all locked, and then I just start animating. So I don't have to adjust anything or touch anything. Dragon's Lair was so good. I agree. I love it. What frame rate do you usually animate at? 24 frames per second every time. All the time. How much does it cost for DragonFrame? I think it's a couple $100. I think they have a student version, which is cheaper if you're a student. So I'm not sure about that, but I think you can get it for cheaper. But I think it's a couple $100. You do not, like I said, you don't need a super fancy capture program at first. You can get like a $20 program and it works awesome. So DragonFrame is for a professional or for someone who wants to do things a little more advanced. I gotta let my dog out. My wife and daughter went out to get some food, so the dog's with me. Go ahead. You wanna go outside? She's got her potato cape on. Keep her warm. She's gonna be scratching that door in 5 minutes to come back in. She doesn't like to be alone. Okay, sorry guys. Let's see here. How big should a set be on average? As big as you can make it. Really, like it's all based upon basically if you as a artist have space. When I started, I was just doing it on my desk. I had just a little bit of space and a webcam. That's all I needed. As I started telling bigger stories, I wanted more space, right? So I moved into the garage. Move into the garage, and now I have a big 4x8 table. 4 feet by 8 feet table and a giant blue screen curtain. That's what I typically like to work on. When I did the He-Man Motu film, we had basically a 6x8 set that was the whole film took place on. You know, I've done them on that, and then I've done them, if you've watched my Overwatch shorts, I made an entire living room. Shelly made an entire kitchen. And those were, you know, 14 feet by 12 feet. And then, you know, the other one was maybe 18 feet by 12 feet. They were huge. So it's really up to you as an artist. If you're making a puppet that's 10 inches tall like I am, then you have a rough idea of how big a building is going to be next to them, or a set, or a mountain. So that's what I would do. I would just say design your characters and then let that be your scale that your sets will reach out to. I just use webcam. Oops. Sorry. Which software do you use for animation? Is there an app? Oh, here's some questions. Sorry. Any advice on how to make water and blasts? Water can be made in many ways. This is such a funny thing to me. Stop motion people are really into the elements. Water can be made with a sheet of plastic that has a color to it, and then sugar on it, or sand that acts as waves. Water can be made of clay. Water can be made of saran wrap. There's a million different clever ways you can do it, and pretty much whatever you can think of. I've seen towels being used for waves and water. Anything you can come up with. Go looking through your mom's kitchen or dad's kitchen, whatever, and see what you can find. I've seen waves done with just pieces of wood, like little sparkles of crust, and you can get all kinds of really cool illusions with it. Okay. Any advice on how to make water or blasts? Blasts? Yes. You could do things like a gun muzzle, right? If you just cut out a shape of a white, like kind of a blast, if you looked up like muzzle flash on Google, you'll see a shape. Cut that shape out in a little piece of cardboard or construction paper, and when you animate, just have it flash for 2 frames. You got a blast. If you want to do an explosion, type in explosion frames. Look at the poses. Cut them out. Draw them down. Do a successive explosion growing. Put some light on it. You can flash some light on it to get a little variation. Get some cotton around it. Spray paint cotton different colors. Red, green, orange, white. And then just sculpt as you go. The flumes going out like this. There's a lot of different cool little ways you can make blasts and water. Have fun with it. You can just make it up. Can you explain a bit about which lenses to use for close-ups? It's almost micro photography, and I'm new to it. We're talking about a human close-up. I'll use like a 55 millimeter lens. I haven't really photographed like micro stuff like that, so I don't know. Like I'll use, like, if I have a figure's head that's half an inch large, that's pretty micro, when I'm putting my lens up there, and I'll push it up close and I'll focus it in, and I've just been using like maybe a 55 millimeter for that. I haven't done anything that special. You have a 75 millimeter lens on my macro, or on my Tamron over there, and you can get in there and then have some really narrow depth of field, so it seems really cool and powerful. But I really don't have that much photography advice to give you there. I'm sorry. Do you use floor set holes and rigs combined? I use tie downs all the time, constantly. I don't use rigs to support my characters very much, but if you can't see under here very much anymore because it's a new piece of wood, but I use tie downs for everything. I want my feet to be steady when I put them in. And then my rig is only if the character's too heavy, like this character, or it's also a broken puppet right now, so I can't, it won't stand up if I don't use the rig, or if a character's jumping and flying around, that's when I'll use the rigging. Otherwise, it's all tie downs. What would you say to young animation students? Ah, that one again. All the time. Laura PV99. Study animation. Study the craft. If you are doing stop motion, you're going to probably learn way more online than you'll ever learn in school. But study the craft of animation. The craft, the fundamentals of animation. I always say it. The principles of animation, that's what's going to make your work stand out from a regular puppet pusher. And a puppet pusher is someone who knows technically how to move a character smoothly, but does not understand performance. And performance is everything. Understanding weight, posing, all of the fundamentals. I'm checking on my dog. I think she went upstairs. That's my best advice. Study the craft, the craft, the craft. And practice, practice, practice. All right. Hello, Justin. I'm from Brazil. Hey, Lucas from Brazil. Thanks for coming. How did you learn to animate? I went to 2D animation school a long time ago. Almost 25 years ago, I went to art school for 2D animation and for practical effects, like old-fashioned 80s special effects movies. So I learned on a pencil, and then I learned how to use a computer, and I started working in video games, and I continued to develop my skills and studied. I studied tons. I read every book, I practiced, I took private classes. Animator Survival Kit was Richard Williams, right? That book didn't exist till 2006 or something like that. Before that, you had to go to a seminar. I went to a seminar in person for a weekend to learn everything that's in that book now for free. Or not for free, but you know, it's so valuable. Back when I was learning to animate, you had to fight for every nugget of information, and now it's all online for free. It's all in books. It's everywhere. So that's where I learned to animate. And then really, you learn to animate after school. That's the truth of it. You might get some information and some opportunity, but really, until you're with peers and working, that's when you really start to animate. Or nowadays, this is the difference, is if you get a mentorship from someone that really knows how to animate, then you learn to animate. I wish I had access to this, what you guys are having right now, back when I was a kid 25 years ago. I would have lost my mind. We were like mailing papers to each other and notes and Xerox copies of information from the 9 Old Men, from anyone we could get, any piece of information. It was very special and slow growing back in those days. I only said saludos desde Mexico. Love, your work is fantastic. Thank you. Gracias. All right. I'm interested in editing. What software do you use? If you mentioned it before, it's okay. This is interesting. People from different countries use different terms. I'm interested in editing. To me, editing means like cutting shots together like you would in a movie. Like you do an over the shoulder, you do a wide, you do all the different, an establishing shot. That's what I think of it as editing. But I think in different countries, editing means more like After Effects, like where you're compositing things, or like Photoshop where you're editing photos. I use Photoshop, I use After Effects. To shoot my animation, I use a program called Dragon Frame. And Dragon Frame, all it does is it gives me playback at the frame rate I want, and allows me to make sure my images are clean before I take them. But really, as an animator, that's all I need. Okay. What inspired you to start animation, and was it a hobby? What was your first animation, and what made you decide to take it seriously? Movies, monster movies, Secret of Nim, some 2D animated films from the 80s, 70s, anything in a local creature feature, Harryhausen movie. That's the Star Wars, RoboCop, Terminator, you name it. All of those effects films really inspired me, made me want to chase it, which I did. I started taking it seriously as soon as I went to art school, but I wanted to do it before that. And what was your first animation? I probably like a bouncing ball, is what I'm guessing. I was in art school, 2D art school, so it was probably bouncing ball was my first animation. To understand how to best perform a movement, do you recommend filming ourselves and that we perform it? It might help you. A lot of people do that. I personally don't do that all the time. I do it sometimes. In my CG work, I do it almost all the time. In my stop motion work, I don't do it very often because I hate rotoscoped looking animation. I've said it a million times on this channel. When I see all the animation that looks like people wearing puppet suits, people wearing puppet suits because it looks exactly like live action, I hate it. I do. I just hate it. It looks so uninspired and technical as opposed to the magic of animation, which is going beyond and going, adding more to our work instead of just creating, a replication of humans moving completely with the exact same timing and exact same. Yeah. So I recommend it maybe for you as a beginner, but what I really recommend is that you study animation and that if you need to get the information from live action, that's valid. If you don't understand how a certain movement takes place, study the movement, study the video, don't copy it. So what I mean is like draw some mini poses from it, grab some moments from it, say, oh, that's what the body does. How many frames roughly? Okay, 24 frames. Then go animate it. Don't copy it. That's all I'm saying. But if it helps you out at first, go for it. A lot of people use video reference. Okay. Me personally, I like to animate myself, but my one issue is showing volume to a punch or standing with figure. Any suggestions? And I'm really big. You help a lot. Thanks. I like to animate myself, but one issue showing volume to a punch. I think you're asking how to put power into a punch and a punch animation. And that basically is from strong poses. It's from sharp timing, good timing, animation, anticipation, follow through. These are animation terms that if you study animation, you will understand them and you'll be able to apply them to your work. So I'm going to say to you, buy the Animator Survival Kit, study the animation, and start applying the concepts to your punches, and you'll see them get stronger. That's my advice to you. What was the approximate budget of your short films? You hired a whole orchestra for one. We got a whole orchestra for both of our films. My first film Gerald's Last Day cost $4,000 to make, and it took 3 years. The Dogonauts cost it took 4.5 years to make, and it probably cost about $12,000 to make. When you spread $12,000 over 4.5 years, it becomes much, much less, especially since I'm working on it all the time. The music, we ran a Kickstarter for. So the Kickstarter paid for our music because we had an investor in our second film. Someone that was financially backing our project. But the investor decided not to give us the rest of the money at the end. And then we ran a Kickstarter. And then that's how we got the second orchestra. And I also know a really, really talented composer named Robert Litton, who is a friend of mine. And he helped get us all that amazing orchestra together because that's what he does for a living. He's a professional composer for films. And I shouldn't be giving numbers anyways. One more question. What do you suggest to look up to get better and learn about animation? Do we look on YouTube? Yeah, of course look on YouTube. Read books. I said Animator Survival Kit, Illusion of Life, Timing for Animation. Look up YouTube tutorials. Go to my channel, Justin Rasch Animation. I am going to be doing tons of tutorials this year. So subscribe and start watching my stuff. I promise I will be doing some great information there for you guys. Would you be a good mentor? I'm a great mentor. But I don't do it for free. There's too many people constantly asking me to be their mentor. And that, that might sound silly, but I literally get asked every single day for me to give my time to other people for free. And I'm doing this already. I'm doing Instagrams, I'm doing my channel, I'm doing a lot of time that I'm giving to people that follow me, and I teach, and I'm also working my butt off. I don't sleep. I work a full-time job. I have a family. I hang out with my wife and daughter. I love being with them. So giving away more of my time is really, I can't do it. I used to do it and I can't do it anymore. So if you want to work with me, I take you on as a student. I take you on in a professional relationship. But that's the only way I could do it. I'm sorry, Laura, I can't do it. But send me an email if you want to work together. I teach in 12-week sessions all the time. Your favorite He-Man character? Haha, what's up, Jazzy? Oh, you guys, go see Jazzy LH Draws. He does some awesome Motu artwork. He does awesome artwork, period. Go check out his stuff. Favorite He-Man character is, I think it's Trapjaw. I'm pretty positive it's Trapjaw. I love Skeletor a lot, but Trapjaw, something about him, I think he just looks cool. Trapjaw. For all you guys who don't know Motu, it's Masters of the Universe. He-Man. I feel like you may know one of my old instructors. Yes, Mike Dietz is awesome. He, I went and talked to one of his classes actually at, I can't even remember the school right now, but yeah, I talked to one of his animation classes a while back. Came in and did a little talk. He's a super talented guy. I love, and an awesome dude. I've worked with him on a few shows. I grew up playing his video games. Earthworm Jim. Oh my God, I can't tell you what a big inspiration that was to me as a kid. The animation in that game was sick. Awesome. Mike Dietz is awesome. Okay, let's see here. Hello from Iran. What app you offer for editing stop motion? Dragon Frame. It's called Dragon Frame. It works great. Can do anything. Is it better to work a lot with the blue screen or more sets? Oh, I love sets. Always love sets. The only reason I'm working with blue right now is because I want to start mixing puppets with live action. So I'm experimenting. But believe me, I'm going to be having some sets in here very soon. I got stuff in the works. Very, very cool stuff in the works. All right. On Alien Xmas, did you have to have focus marks that you had to hit for your characters in your shots? Yeah, in a couple spots, but typically the stuff that I had to do on Alien Xmas was really locked off. We didn't have to animate the focus very much. But I'm sure there was a few that had to do that. It was a simpler show. It wasn't like a Leica film, which has cameras going all over the place and motion control rigs all over. So, yeah, I'm sure a couple of shots had to have some movement. Bella, are you coming in or what? Sorry, she's back. She's yapping and whining. Are you coming? You don't know what you're doing. But yeah, it happens all the time. The dinosaur thing that I was just animating, I have to animate the focus as well. What? Yes, Fullerton. Yes, that's exactly where it was. Fullerton for Mike Dietz's class when I went and talked to him. I go talk to a bunch of classes, and he had me come out, I don't even know, a couple years ago, 3 years ago maybe. Time flies. Whew. Let's see here. Hey, Justin. I'm from Iran, too. What's up, Iran? What do I think about Iran? I think it's cool. I'm happy there's animation there. For me, I love seeing how far-reaching animation is. And stop motion, if stop motion makes it to Iran, I'm ridiculously happy because it's such a niche, weird little thing we do, right? So Iran thinks it seems so far away from Hollywood and you know, some of the, you know, professional television stuff that we do here in California. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. That's all I think about Iran is I think it's awesome that you guys are animating. Very cool. Another question for angles. Any advice for shots when the camera and figures are moving? I am trying an animation of Spider-Man running up a broken building while it's exploding. Ooh, that sounds rad. I would use definitely, I think for that, if you're going to track with the box, I would use like one of the sliders like the ones I was showing earlier. Or you can use like just this, which is awesome. And pretty much a really inexpensive, just your little winders here. And as you can see all these grids, most typical tripods, if you're just running like this every frame and the camera's going up, you're going to be able to track Spider-Man. It's going to look awesome and it's pretty controlled from a camera standpoint. So I think if you get a nice tripod with a nice rise winder, you'll be able to get that shot and it'll look cool. What was my first stop motion? You know what? I just put my first stop motion up on Zen last week. Oh, and my Bumble, which I think I put on Instagram too. Did you guys see the one with the Bumble, who is the Christmas character that comes in and says, Bumble's bounce? If you saw that, that was my first animation. That like abominable snowman on a black and white webcam, that was my very first animation I ever did. It was basically a giant Bumble coming to life, squashing little balls. I had fun. Bumble was awesome. Not animation related, but I hope you have a great 2021. Thank you, Laura. You too. I hope we all do. I am definitely, I have big, excited plans for 2021. How did you learn to animate so smoothly, applying the animation principles? Practice. Hard work. Like anything, you want to get good at it, it takes a lot of work. I studied, obviously I did 2D animation, I did CG animation before I even touched a puppet. So I understood the craft. And then all I had to do was learn how to make a puppet move smoothly, right? Because it's all the same stuff. It's tracking arcs. It's good poses, balance, anticipation, shape changes, like all of that stuff. That's what makes good animation. But lots of practice. Doing smooth animation, for all of you out there who wonder, it's just a technical skill. I don't think of it as like a talent. I think of it as a technical skill. That's why you can have some animators that are able to move things really smooth, but it looks boring, or it doesn't have much life. So learning what makes good animation, which is the fundamentals, it's the craft. That's what's going to make your work special. So if you're doing not perfect arcs at first, it'll come. It's just a technical skill. It's just practice. All right. What are your top 3 movies of all time? Jeez, Laura, so hard. Movies are my favorite thing in the world, almost. Like, of course not more than my wife or daughter and stuff like that, but I love films so much. That's too hard to answer. It's too hard to answer. I love too many movies. Aliens. Braveheart. I can't. There's too many. There's just too many that I adore. Back to the Future. I adore so many movies. Jaws. Too many. I love movies. Well, a puppet is your friend. He is alive. That's for true. That's for true. We literally put our lives into them. Molds, plaster, or silicone? I use all. I do resin. This new character that I'm making back there on top of the generator, we just molded that this week, I should say. And that's a resin mold over a sculpted puppet. And that will, the reason we use resin is because we're going to make silicone puppets that we paint directly in, and you get some really nice professional work. That's how I did the Overwatch stuff. All those were resin molds. But I've been using UltraCal molds for years and years and years. This new character sculpt that I'm working on right now, I'm basically re-sculpting my Viking character and I'm going to be molding him in resin as well. The old one that I did originally was a UltraCal mold for foam latex characters, and that worked great. But the thing about foam latex is it gets a little cracky. This guy's older, but you can see he's got some cracks in the skin there and stuff like that, and the hands get pretty beat up. So I'm looking for a more professional look because I loved so much how the Overwatch puppets came out that I didn't I'm just like, oh wow, this is a whole new level of quality that I want to hit with all my projects. So I'm moving towards resin and silicone. But I will always have a warm spot for UltraCal, which is more plaster-like. Let's see here. Any cool story behind the head tattoo? Yep, I answer this every single live stream, and I'm gonna skip this one. I'm sorry. Maybe next time. Best stop motion TV show or movie? Best stop motion TV show. I think Tumbleleaf is a pretty special stop motion TV show. The quality of artistry in that is really, really high. In animation, in puppets, in sets, it's really, really high for television. And that's because of the people that made it. The team that made it, they really put a lot of quality in that. So I think Tumbleleaf is the best stop motion TV show that I've seen. It's for young kids, but the quality is through the roof. Best movie in stop motion, it's got to be Nightmare Before Christmas. Followed very closely by Coraline. Very closely. 3 favorite stop motion movies from Stop Motion 98. Coraline, Nightmare Before Christmas. This is a hard one for number 3. Coraline, Nightmare Before Christmas. It might be Kubo. Kubo might be my number 3. Movie, feature. Going through my list here. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, and Kubo, and the 2 strings. Do you plot arcs in Dragonframe or? Oh yeah, I don't plot. All eyes. It's right here. It's eyes and flipping. Flip, 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 flip. I track my arcs with every moment that I'm animating. Heads, feet, hand, hips, nose, whatever it is, I'm tracking it the whole time. The only time I'll draw or plot an arc is if there's something happening, through 3-dimensional space. Sometimes I'll draw something so I can just stay in line a little bit more 2-dimensionally, but otherwise it's all just eyeballing at this point. Yeah, you get good at that after years of practice, where you don't have to mess around too much. Are you currently working on the new Secret Leica movie? Nope, I'm in my garage working on my own secret stuff. But I know what they're doing, and who knows, might help on it someday. We'll see. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Hey Justin, do you know the stop motion movie Me Gusta la Verga? No, I don't. Me Gusta la Verga. I will look that up after the live stream. Cool. I love finding new projects I don't know anything about. I love Mary & Max. Watched it 10 times. What do you think about it? It's awesome. Mary & Max is awesome. That, I think, is my wife's favorite. It's really close between Mary & Max or Fantastic Mr. Fox. My wife loves both of those. But Mary & Max, I did like that one a lot. That was really different and cool. Really enjoyed it. And it's a good story. If there is a figure of a character, would you still go and make a puppet? If so, why? And how many figures or puppets do you have? I like to make my own puppets because then they move the way I want them to. I've only done Masters of the Universe. The He-Man stuff is the only toy animation that I've ever done, and it's very limited. I like puppets that do anything and everything I want them to do. So I prefer to just make my own puppets, custom. Yeah, I think that answers that. What else do you collect besides the content you put on your Instagram? Would you ever do some DC stop motions? I would do anything in stop motions. I read comic books all growing up. I do stop motions. I would do DC stop motions. What I'm trying to get, just so you guys know, because I get requests all the time to animate stuff, is I do so much work every day of my life, every night of my life. I am working. I am playing. I am having family time, wife, husband time. And I want them to start paying me to do work. Do you understand? So, I want people, if they want to see some DC stuff, to hire me. And then I can animate their characters. I don't want to do it all for free because I have a skill. I can definitely do it at a high level. And if I'm going to spend a lot of time animating, I want to animate stuff that I like or stuff that a story I want to tell. That's why I'm resculpting the Viking in there, and that's why I'm molding the wolf in here, is I'm getting ready for my new film, or new short that we're making in the garage. Let's see here. Tips for a real-time puppeteer creature actor to transition into stop motion. Whoa. Tips for a real-time puppeteer. Wow, you probably understand performance a lot already if you're a puppeteer, which is awesome because that's going to transfer over in your performance a lot. I think the tips would just be to study animation. You'll find a lot of crossover in acting and what we do. And then I think, practice. I think really that's all you need. If you have that much of a background, just start learning some of the technical skills of animation and timing. But study by the Animator Survival Kit. I say it all the time. That'll help you a lot. Very cool. I'd love to see what you do. All right. Any cool story behind? Yes, there's cool stories behind my head tattoo. What do you think about the upcoming Guillermo del Toro movie in Pinocchio? I am so freaking excited. Pinocchio is my number one story to be turned into stop motion film ever. And I've been asked to work on it a couple times, and it's torture because I want to go work on it so bad. I want to go work on, hey, dinner time? Okay. Thank you, babe. I want to work on Pinocchio so bad, you guys. It's going to be amazing. I have some friends working on it, and I saw the maquettes before I got greenlit, and I was just like, I have to work on this. So, super pumped. That's the short answer. So, dinner's here, so I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then I'm going to go. But it's great to see you guys. Where do you buy the puppets? I buy mine on Pidgelarga. I don't know what you mean by that. Typically, I make my own puppets. I've recently started doing collaborations with people because I'm trying to do Instagram and TikTok and all of these new social medias. And collaborations are a part of being online. So, but typically I make all my own puppets. I don't buy them. If you're talking about like toys, then that's different. You know, I just get them from a toy store. All right, last question. Let's see here. Hey, Megas Talaverga, what's the most technically intense film you worked on? It was Kubo and the Two Strings. It was so much happening, and it was so hair, cloth, capes, environment, leaves, rigs. Everything's on rigs. All day long, rigs, outfits, weapons, chains, all at the same time. In the ocean, boats. Like, there was like 7 jillion things happening all at the same time on that film. And it had to be done at the most amazingly high level, like a quality that could be there. It was ridiculous. It was so intense. Very slow going, but so Kubo was it. That was really an amazing process, experience, but it was really hard. How can you clean? All right, last one. I gave one more. How you clean all the images once shoot is done, like background and stand removal. Photoshop, Rajesh, Photoshop. I take my photos into Photoshop and I cut out any of the rigs and I make them invisible. That's how I do it. Every frame, 1 frame at a time. And then I put them together in After Effects. So thanks everybody for coming. I'm gonna go get some dinner with my family, and then I will see you guys next Friday. Later. Thanks for coming, everybody.